first impressions of the draw, I must admit, when we were going through it, the Real Madrid thing just knocked me for six. But we have managed to get a few things broadly shaped like the things that I was hoping for, and that is to say some quite nice aways and a few obviously headline home games as well and all that. But it is hard to look past Real Madrid. But we did ask the question when we were live, if you had to draw Real Madrid at any point during this competition, where would you prefer it to be? And at least in this one, it's a one-off game. You can lose it and then still win your other games, and you're still probably comfortably through to the knockout. So yeah,
but you're right in the first thing that you said, in that it's just dead hard to not see that badge and absolutely brick it. To be honest with you, and I think the thing is, there's no context here. Mm-hmm. This is the problem that I've got. Obviously, we've just done the draw. I now know Liverpool's 8 teams. I did a few graphics, so I know City's and Arsenal's and Villa's in preparation for this. But how hard are our games compared to everybody else's games in pot one? Mm-hmm. That's what I need. In a group, I can understand, well, everyone's got to play them. That's a hard group for all of us or none of us.
Yeah.
So, contextually, well, what do ours compare to like Cities and to Arsenal's and to Real Madrid's and to Leipzig's and Dortmund's? That's the thing that I think you can't grasp straight away.
So by that you mean as in, because from my that I look at that and go, if you play Real Madrid first game of this whole thing, then stakes are pretty low. If you play Real Madrid last in the group, stakes could be the highest they could possibly be, but they could also be absolutely zero as well.
Yeah, you're right. But what I meant was from who are the other 8 teams that everyone else is playing in pot one? Because ultimately, listen, give or take maybe a Bayer Leverkusen or something like that from pot 2 and Arsenal, you're competing against the pot 1 sides for automatic qualification. There's probably 10 of you. Mm-hmm. There's the 8 pot 1 teams, Arsenal and Leverkusen, who'll be looking to get automatic qualification. How do our fixtures compare to all of theirs? Do ours look easy compared to theirs, favourable, or do they look difficult?
Yeah.
Whereas in a group, well, those four, let's say if there's 4 teams, Arsenal have been drawn against Bayern and AC Milan and Real Madrid. That's a tough group. Everyone's going to struggle in that group. I have no context of how our fixtures compare to everybody else's. You need to digest everybody's fixtures to understand if yours are yours the fixtures of death.
So what you're saying is,
easy fixtures.
While we've just spent time preparing Aston Villa's fixtures, what we should have been doing is preparing Dortmund's fixtures.
Everybody's, Paul, because someone might have their easy fixtures compared to everybody else.
That league table is going to mean absolutely fuck all until pretty much the final, maybe the final 2 games of it, when you'll have an idea of the shape, and then you'll be able to work out what means what for everyone else.
What are the permutations?
But that's it, on a week-to-week basis. It will matter if you care to delve into it a bit more. And again, you trust that the teams that are playing will know what it means. But you're right, for your average fan, most of this isn't going to make any sense for the vast majority of this round, because you'll look at the league table. You'll be able to look at a league table on a weekly basis or whatever, but you won't really know what it means, because ultimately, and what we don't know, by the way, and I presume, is what order these are going to be played in.
That's the other thing.
So, are all the pot 1 teams going to play their pot 1 games?
No. So what happens is they're going to, what UEFA are going to do is they're going to spread the headline fixtures around. So they're going to be drawn in whatever order they can. Now there's things like Inter Milan and AC Milan can't play in the same city on the same day and all that type of stuff. So that's going to be difficult. When ESPN simmed this a week or so ago, there was big pot 1 games at the end. There was big pot 1 games in every single game week. The chances are that might not happen. But, the likelihood is there are. What's really interesting for me is, even after 6 game weeks, so you've got 2 fixtures left, right? If you, for example, still have AC Milan away and Real Madrid at home, but Arsenal, who are behind you, have, as an example, Monaco at home and Girona away, you could be sitting pretty, but you still have to check everybody else's fixtures to see, are they harder than yours?
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a shit show from game week 1, essentially.
Yeah, and the simple solution is going to be just play and win every game. And I think that's what they're kind of hoping for, isn't it? Is that, they're drawing more. The fact that there's 2 pot 1 teams, and because of the nature of pot one and how that's determined. The Champions League was like this anyway, so as much as I remember you saying on the live show, it's the first time we've been drawn against pot one teams in this kind of stage. So many boss teams end up in pot two because either it's teams on the rise or teams that star has just have fallen a little bit and are picking themselves back up again. Two greatest examples of this being Bayer Leverkusen and Arsenal are both pot two teams. It is all a bit mad. I like the idea.
They need to work on the delivery.
Yeah. I mean, that draw was mental. Like, there's no need. And the need is probably because they've got to get in and out of this show in a certain amount of time.
Fuck the intro.
Sack all your bollocks off at the start. Like, let's make that perfectly clear. But Ronaldo does his big button press, and
that wasn't even the button.
So do you know? No. But imagine if it was.
It was just
imagine if they put that in the hands of a one button press thing. Honestly. I mean, actually, maybe it was because it's UEFA. Who knows? But yeah, look, I'm not against
change.
No, change is fine because we forget the Champions League's changed a million times while we've been watching it.
2 group stages, one group stage.
Nobody remembers. We did an entire Champ Manager series of an era that was our prime. In 2001, 2002, where we knew everything there was to know about football, and we'd forgotten Liverpool played 2 group stages that year. Totally and utterly forgotten that was a thing. The draw thing, yeah, that system, it comes out too fast, and it reminds me of when you get your cup draws on Fuzzy Manager, Champ Manager, and you can auto draw all teams. Draw all, but when you auto draw, it does give a bit of cadence in between, so you can go da-da-da. For me, here's how it should be. Imagine it's being read out like the scores on the end on 5 Live at the end of the footy. Yeah.
That's simple.
Just like, so it should go. Liverpool will face in pot 1 Real Madrid. The second team from pot 1 they will face will be RB Leipzig. Brilliant. Everyone gets to
would have actually given Ronaldo something to do.
Yeah.
As well if they that way around just pressing buttons.
Well, then get him to read it, whatever. But as you said, the problem was when we were doing the draw, we were flying through it. You can't process what's come out, and they're on to the next one. But they're on the next one, and you've got no idea of who's left and who's not. And maybe I can't even see that will come with time because it's so complicated that it's almost that you go, I think it's like playing pairs matching game, except it's the biggest, it's set over like an entire acre of forest, and you've got to turn these giant cards over. And you only get
to see it for a second.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Do you remember what that was?
Yeah.
It was brown, I know that.
Yeah. So we were a couple of times, we were like, I think I've seen that team come out before, but where? They're okay. Well, what pot were they in? They were in pot. With 3 teams in. So we finished this pot.
It was finished. You missed it all.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous though. But I just said to you in the break, it's like just because you can do it that fast doesn't mean you need to do it that fast. Like that's just the technology's great. Slow it down.
I got it toward the end where it's just like everyone's done with it, and it's like there was teams that didn't have any fixtures to be drawn by the end.
There's like 4 of them in the last part.
Yeah, there we go, and they're doing it because obviously you've got to show it all, so there's no question
like
of foul play or whatever.
Years ago when it went completely wrong.
Yeah, redraw. Anyway, look, let's focus on Liverpool before we move on to the teams. Real Madrid, bad. I mean, I did say that I wanted Leipzig, so fine. I'm looking forward. That's a nice away. Good team. I've never been anywhere near there before, so that's sound. The Xabi Alonso homecoming was the one that I really was desperate for us to avoid. That's one where I'd like that to be a nice middling fixture, maybe in like late November or something like that. So Liverpool are up and running, Slot's had time to get used to what's going on. And there's no great stakes around that one because, as I said to you on the live stream, Chris, I just don't think the Liverpool manager needs that comparison in his life right now.
No, he doesn't need it at all. Obviously, we don't know what Bayern are going to be like this season, of course, but we're judging them on last season. It's what got them into the Champions League in the first place, and we know how sort of formidable they were. So yeah, they're gonna. It's gonna be massive pressure for Xabi Alonso, but it's gonna be even more for Slot. Thankfully, it is at home again, much like the Real Madrid one. But you don't want the worst case scenario, even if it's going well, is for Bayer to turn up and play scintillating football in front of us.
Yeah.
And us to just sort of go, this is what you could have won. Because that will hurt more than anything. Obviously, that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is you play them off the park and you think, fucking made up, you turn us down, son.
Yeah.
Because we've got on a slot.